People ask me, like, how do I get started acting? Like, you need to go to film festivals and meet people.
This is a short clip out of an interview that I had with a good friend of mine named Stacy Bradshaw. She is a faith-based film actress. She has been in over 50 faith-based Christian films, and if you ever wanted to know how to get involved, this is what she had to say about that. Now, if you are interested in hearing more about what Stacy had to say, I'll tag the entire interview at the very end of this video. And if you want to know more about how to build solid community and culture inside of your church, then stick around. And if you would love a free resource to help you along your journey, then feel free to head on over to jasonhunley.com, where I've got a free gift for you. If there's a young person who's watching this and wants to know, how do I become a faith-based film actor or actress? Audition a bunch, get headshots, like what all do you have to do? Is it worth going to school? Do you not go to school? Like,
no, I would say, I mean, if there are good acting classes near you, definitely get an acting class, but research it first and make sure that it's going to be, good people, a good teacher. There's different methods of acting, and so you can try it out and see if maybe this works for you and that doesn't. So just kind of learn what works for you, and it doesn't have to fit what works for somebody else. You're not in a box. So classes can be really good. You definitely need a professional headshot, and by somebody who knows how to do acting headshots, because just a normal portrait photographer isn't going to know what's needed. And that's your calling card. So if a casting director sees an unprofessional headshot, then they're just going to skip right over you. Usually. Learn how to do self-tapes. The internet is a wonderful resource. Just Google, what do I need for a good headshot? How do I self-tape at home for auditions? And you can do that with your phone. You just need good lighting, good sound quality, people ask me, how do I get started acting? You need to go to film festivals and meet people, because that's really where that will lead to open doors. Go to film festivals, Christian festivals. There's a bunch out there. Christian Worldview Film Festival is my absolute favorite. That's a really great place to start. And then, that'll just be a great resource. And look for Christian auditions. I think I have gotten all my auditions almost, or maybe all, I don't know, off Facebook, actually. It's kind of funny, but just people I'd be connected to would share an audition, or you can follow pages. There is faithbasedcasting.com. You can sign up with them, and they post auditions for Christian films. So that's also a good place to start if you're just getting into it. Man, I've learned so much about networking, and people think they have to go sell themselves, but all you have to do is just go make friends and help them.
That's right.
It was so funny. I'm really, really deep down, I'm a really shy person. If I walk into a room of strangers, I am terrified. When I left after the summer after I finished at college, summer 2010, I heard about a filmmaking workshop that George Escobar was doing, and he was kind of a leader in the Christian film industry at that time, up in Northern Virginia. And so I was like, well, I have to go. This is an opportunity to figure out how to get started or whatever. So I went. I didn't talk to anybody for full 2 days, because I didn't know anybody up there. I was terrified. I was a turtle in my shell. I sat there and listened and I took notes. I didn't talk to anybody. I was just just scared of all the strangers, it's ridiculous. But at the very end, after it was over, George was it was a small group of people. Honestly, it was maybe 50, 75 people that were there. He's like, if I have not met you yet personally, please stick around, because I want to make sure I get to meet everybody. So I'm like, okay. So I stuck around. He talked to me, and then he invited me to dinner at his house with his family and some of the other interns and a few other guests from the thing.
Wow.
Because he saw potential, okay, she just graduated college. She doesn't have any debt. She has her own car. She's somebody that, could be a good candidate to start working in films.
Yeah.
And so anyway, then once I felt oh, I belong there. I don't know. I opened up, and I just had a blast just hanging out with him that night. And that led to working as crew on 2 films. I'll have another good tip. Go work as crew. Not thinking about the good tip, but so I started out working as crew, just a lowly production assistant. But then I got to, I met people. I learned how a film set is run. And I learned a lot through that. And then, so then I started going to a couple of film festivals, and George Escobar, a few years later, we were at a festival, and he's like giving the keynote address in front of like a whole bunch of people. I mean, not like hundreds, but it was a decent sized crowd. And he started talking about like networking, and he's like, and if you want to, to meet somebody who's just a really great example of how to network, like you need to talk to Stacy Bradshaw. And I'm like, what? Like, I have no clue.
I didn't talk
how
for
to network.
2 days of people.
Well, yeah. I mean, but, since then, like I had a ton of friends.
Right.
But I was like, I don't know the first thing about networking. I don't know how, I just show up and talk to people. But he's like, well, that's all it is. You just make friends. And I'm like, right. And then like, just how can I help you meet your goals? Like, I just loved connecting people. Like it just came so naturally to me. If somebody's like, I need a really good like DP for my film, I'm like, oh, I know a really good TP, or oh, I have a really good actor that would be good for that role. So like I connected people just naturally. That's just because I just enjoy helping people.
Yeah.
And so that was just part of it too. But the people think you have to show up and hand out your card to everybody and sell yourself. I'm like, no, just show up, make friends, have a good time, have good conversations, and see how you can help them, and then it'll just happen naturally.
Yeah.
It takes off so much pressure,